what's going to happen with Emmanuel Moseley? Same kind of thing. He is another restricted free agent. Mullins and Moseley are the restricted free agents who play the most, who have the most game tape and feel like they have the most value. I would imagine the Niners try to do what they did with Dwelly with him. Here, Moseley, here's $900,000. And he's thinking, nah, I can do better. Do you think he'll do better? Do you think he'll come back?
I thought they would tender him, and I thought that, when you have to think about it based on this roster, who are the cornerbacks on this roster right now? It is Emmanuel Moseley, restricted, Tim Harris, and Webster. That's it. Spoon's not under contract. Neither is Verrett. For me, when you talk about a guy who was put in pressure situations, right? Witherspoon gets pulled, you go right to Moseley. Moseley was solid. I don't see how you can take a chance and let him walk when you know him so well, and you've been able to get what you've gotten out of him. If you think that you're going to be able to replace him in free agency, I guess, or the draft, I don't know what the thought process is. For me, what do I know? I know Moseley fits. I know Moseley's played here before. I know Moseley's been solid. I think you have to bring him back, I think, at this point.
Yeah, but it doesn't look to me like they will. I mean, if they let him go, I think a lot of teams would look at him and say, he's solid, I'll take him. And I think the Niners, it seemed to me like they were phasing him out at the end of the year. I mean, Ahkello Witherspoon was starting over him, and he was in the slot? He was
Spoon. Yeah. So here's the thing with Spoon. We all know and I would love for him to come back. I just don't know why he would. Yeah. But with Spoon, and this is the one thing, because everybody always wants to throw the mental aspect of it to me, and that's a concern. Here's where I'll say I think he broke through. He got out of Kyle's doghouse. He's the only player to do it. He's the only player to do it.
Yeah.
And he actually played very well. Now I'm talking about not just being on the field, because Pettis got out of the doghouse and got put on the field, and then he went out on his shield and jumped in the air and in the
That's
Seattle
exactly what he did. He went out on his shield. That's exactly what he did. Yeah.
But Spoon actually played very well. The Arizona game, everybody points to the interception. That was probably his worst of the games, because he gave up about 7 catches, I believe, in that game. But if you notice the way he was covering DK Metcalf, if you notice the way that he was getting up after pass breakups, the guy seemed like he was over it. And my fear is he's gotten over the mental hurdles. The 49ers are going to say, hey, can we have you back? And he's going to say, no. I'm going to go somewhere else where they're not going to treat me bad. And,
my
and
fear is that he put together a good 5 games at the end of his contract, and the Niners are going to give him a deal thinking that, we always believed in you and you showed it. And then he's going to do what so many other players before him have done. And I don't have to say it. You know what I'm saying? That's the
career year. So contract year, you put some things on film. It's the extremes for me. First 4 weeks of 2019, lights out. Last 5 weeks of 2020, lights out. Man coverage everywhere. Slot, outside, here, there, anything you needed him to do. Yeah, there's just those in between things, right? And even the
where
games
he gets
that
up 17 touchdowns in a 10-game span.
Even
those are the ones.
Even in those games that he's played bad, there's still good tape. Like the Saints game, right? He makes a play in there, and I'm just see how the narrative of the Saints game in 2019 is just you go back and you watch it, and I'm look at that play by Ahkello Witherspoon. Look at that pass breakup. It's in glimpses. It's just never sustained stretches. So I understand that concern as well.
Shay says, you two are some of the most brilliant minds on 49ers Twitter. What do you mean some of? What do you mean some of? No,
I appreciate that.
It. Yeah, thank you. I've said this. If they get any edge rusher, I'm praying it's Azeez after a trade back.
Azeez is awesome, man. He profiles just like what D Ford was, was a speed rusher, and I can't take credit for that one. I'm not taking credit for it, but I see the vision and I see how he wins, and pair him up with Bosa and you might be able to have something, especially if he's going to be that cheap.